Welcome to The Explainer. If you love tracing the hidden roots of our modern world, you are in the exact right place today. We're going to map out something truly massive. We're looking at the long-term historical contributions of Chinese civilization. We're talking about 30 distinct innovations, ideas, and systems that haven't just shaped one single region. Oh no, they've actively improved the lives of millions, honestly, literally billions of people all across the globe.
But hey, before we get completely lost in the historical timelines, take just a second and look around at your daily life. Seriously, look around. I want you to ask yourself a super simple question. What connects the physical book sitting on your shelf, the GPS navigation system right there in your phone, and the modern medicine you've got sitting in your cabinet? On the surface, they seem completely, totally unrelated, right?
Well, the answer to that really surprising combination is thousands of years of continuous Chinese innovation. Throughout this whole explainer, we're going to explore exactly how these historical breakthroughs from centuries and centuries ago have rippled outward. They really created the foundational technologies, the governance structures, and the global connections that completely define our reality today.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today. Number 1, the first information revolution. 2, tech that shrank the world. 3, feeding and governing millions. 4, health, philosophy, and art. And finally, number 5, ancient continuity, modern world. Let's start with section 1, the first information revolution. How knowledge became accessible.
We so often think of the information age as starting with computers, right? But I want you to imagine a time when a single book was so incredibly heavy that it literally took a wooden cart to transport the thing. Knowledge back then was incredibly fragile, it was super exclusive, and it was pretty much trapped in heavy stone or carved into these awkward bamboo slips. Chinese civilization provided this absolute game-changer of a technological leap that completely shattered those physical limits. It transformed a world of isolated, restricted knowledge into a vibrant, massive era of mass communication.
Let's break down exactly how that happened, because it's a fascinating micro-narrative. First, obviously, came paper, and that fundamentally changed the game. Suddenly, things like literacy, education, and just running a vast administration became, well, way more practical and accessible. But think about it, having paper doesn't really do much if you're forced to painstakingly copy every single document by hand, right? That massive barrier fell with the invention of printing. That enabled the large-scale dissemination of books and ideas, and it naturally evolved into this brilliant 11th century movable type technology, just a monumental step in human communication. The ultimate result of all of this? The meticulous preservation of historical records. It gave the entire world these incredibly valuable insights into politics, economics, science, and culture that span millennia.
Let's move to section 2 and see how this builds. Tech that shrank the world, hard sciences, and global exchange.
So once information could spread easily, it inevitably sparked physical global exploration, and of course the hard sciences needed to make that exploration actually possible. The magnetic compass entirely transformed maritime navigation, just completely opening up new horizons for global trade. And then there's gunpowder. Now, we all immediately think of its military applications, but here's a surprising fact. It fundamentally reshaped the Earth itself as an absolutely vital tool for mining and civil engineering. Add an advanced metallurgy that revolutionized agricultural tools and these incredibly precise astronomical observations that built our scientific calendars, and you are literally looking at the bedrock of the modern scientific world.
So the crucial point here is that all of this navigation and engineering paved the way for unprecedented global connection. It functioned like a massive engine for human progress. The Silk Road connected civilizations all across Eurasia. It started with this really vibrant exchange of goods, things like silk and ceramics. But that flow of physical goods rapidly opened the door for something much bigger, the massive transfer of manufacturing techniques and new technologies. Ultimately, these bustling physical trading routes built the trust and the pathways for the profound spread of religions, ideas, and cultures far, far beyond East Asia. It was incredible.
Moving on to section 3, feeding and governing millions, the human infrastructure.
Now think about this. How do you actually manage, organize, and successfully feed massive populations over centuries? Well, it starts with civil service examinations. Imagine a system where, instead of just relying on nobility or birthright, absolutely anyone could earn a powerful government seat by passing these incredibly grueling, multi-day academic tests. We're talking about one of history's earliest large-scale meritocracies here. Evaluating individuals on their actual knowledge established a highly professional administration that permanently influenced governance traditions throughout all of East Asia.
And having a competent, merit-based administration allows for something incredibly vital: long-term state planning. That long-term vision is exactly what directly funded massive public works, like these remarkably complex irrigation systems. Intelligent water management then supported the development of really advanced rice cultivation techniques. That drastically improved crop yields and basically stabilized the entire food supply. It's this brilliant chain reaction, right? Good governance builds the infrastructure needed to secure the food supply, which in turn successfully supports massive, thriving populations.
Which brings us to Section 4, Health, Philosophy, and Art, the Mind and Soul. Because, let's face it, a civilization is way more than just its infrastructure and its agriculture. To truly endure, a society has to develop philosophical and cultural pillars that nourish the human spirit and maintain the health of its people. Think of it like a holistic ecosystem. You have traditional Chinese medicine, which accumulated profound medical knowledge over centuries. This includes things like acupuncture, which is still widely practiced globally today, and herbal pharmacology that absolutely continues to inspire modern remedies. But this physical healing was deeply, deeply intertwined with ethical frameworks. Confucian ethics heavily emphasized education, family duty, and public service. Taoist ideas championed balance and really profound environmental thinking. And Buddhist scholarship preserved and transmitted these deep philosophical texts across the entire continent.
Beyond philosophy and medicine, there was just an absolute explosion of human expression. The traditions of calligraphy literally elevated everyday literacy into a high art form. Classical poetry enriched world literature, while these breathtaking landscape paintings redefined artistic traditions everywhere. And the thing is, these weren't just local hobbies. They were profound cultural exports. Their distinct architecture, the intricate gardens, and the urban design shaped the aesthetic of half the globe, inspiring generations of builders and dreamers everywhere.
Now for our final section, number 5, Ancient Continuity, Modern World, the Unbroken Thread.
Remember the question we asked you at the very beginning of this explainer? This is where the loop completely closes. Now, what's really interesting to look at here is how modern contributions directly mirror the ancient past. Massive global manufacturing networks are making products affordable worldwide today, which is a direct echo of the Silk Road's exchange. Advances expanding access to solar panels and batteries? That shows a continued mastery of complex energy and environmental needs. We see global, large-scale infrastructure expertise born directly from thousands of years of state planning and public works. And ongoing scientific research just continues to push boundaries in everything from telecommunications to modern medicine.
Pulling it all together reveals an astonishing, unbroken thread. We start all the way back in antiquity with foundational innovations like paper and the compass. Then we move into the 2nd century BCE onward, where the Silk Road drives this massive global exchange. By the 6th century CE, we see the rise of the meritocratic civil service, structuring society for the absolute long haul. And that line leads right to the present day, with modern manufacturing and renewables. According to the source material, this is really their absolute greatest long-term contribution, providing a literal blueprint for how a civilization can maintain cultural continuity, adapt to monumental historical changes, preserve its knowledge, and repeatedly generate global innovations over thousands of years.
So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. If one civilization can adapt, preserve knowledge, and consistently innovate over thousands and thousands of years, what can the rest of the world learn from this incredible endurance to help shape our shared future? It is a fascinating question to ponder as you look around at all the conveniences in your life today. Thank you so much for joining me on The Explainer, and keep learning.